Hi, what's up, guys? Welcome to That's Prolific Podcast. I'm your man Lou, and I speak my truth. In today's episode, I want to talk about how screens may modify our perception of reality. To clarify my point, I would like to use movies and shows. War movies, for example, are displayed as fictional most of the time, but they are as well often based on real life events or inspired from real life scenarios most of the times. There is real soldiers going out on the battlefield being killed, fighting for their country. So these are real life events most of the time, or things that could actually happen. And if we take movies like action movies or shows, for example, we're seeing oftentimes a lot of people getting killed. But because we know that this is a fiction, and because we are sitting in the comfort of our homes, there is a kind of distance that's being created between us and what's actually happening, what's being displayed on the screen. And that's my first point. That is that if our emotions are not engaged, if we don't directly feel concerned, if we are not in direct physical presence of the threat or the event or the thing that is happening, we often are not feeling related to that. So, in my opinion, when we watch all these fictions, with people dying or fighting for their lives, then when we watch it as real life events, for example, in the news, people getting killed, etc., then we kind of lose a little bit, assume a part of the sensibility to that information. But that's actual people, that's real life. But because we watch so much, we watched these things so much into, I would say, a fictional context, then when it's happening in real life, then we are, I would say, way less sensitive to that. A second example I'd like to use is actually the news. The way the information are being presented, for me, it's kind of cold. There is sometimes facts, sometimes just information, and it's kind of up to your own interpretation, to the way you're gonna receive this information, and eventually to your feelings. So sometimes you have a situation that is being presented to you, and depends on your sensibility to that information, then you're gonna, perceive, the reality of the thing or the eventuality of that thing happening, which leads me to talk about COVID-19 pandemic. And for me, for example, I heard about this pandemic for the first time. It was a cruise boat in Japan, I think that was it, and that was the cruise. The boat was stuck on a dock. Yeah, that's it, for 14 days because some passengers were contaminated with COVID-19. And at the moment, I heard the information, but I didn't feel directly related to that. Well, I felt kind of bad for the persons as well, but I didn't really feel directly concerned by that. And it changed when a few months later, when I was myself supposed to go on a cruise boat, and a few days before I went to the website of the cruise company, because the pandemic had a little bit spread around the world, and I saw actual informations about the measures, the regulation that they will be having at the entrance and the beginning of the cruise. And there I saw and realized that, hey, this thing might be, at the door of my own country. So right now there is it had a direct threat. I was directly engaging with the potential threats of this pandemic, and it's, I would say only then that I realized that, hey, this thing is real. But it was already happening on the other side of the world. It was happening in Japan. But because I was not directly and physically engaged with that thing, I didn't realize the potentiality of it happening. And it's also because I was watching this from my home, from the comfort of my couch. I was watching it on TV, so I was kind of far away from the reality. The last example I would like to use is social media. Social media have actually um, a lot of staging, a lot of fake things included. There is a lot of things going behind the scenes that we don't see, and the information that we receive is kind of distorted. We have to, I would say, try to pay real attention and be aware that a lot of things that we are seeing up there is not real. A lot of things present on social media are kind of romanced and appear real but are really not. And I would say the fact that we are so exposed to these things really trick us into believing that it's real, and the way these information are received as well make us think that it's real, or eventually the fact that we don't know that these things are being staged. And I would say that it's sometimes really dramatic because we would compare ourselves to people, to things, to results that are actually not real, that it's detrimental to ourselves first, and our whole perception of reality is tweaked. And that's really dangerous. My final point is, I think we should try sometimes to reflect and question what we are watching and what's real, what's not, and try to be careful about what we choose to watch, what we choose to believe. Well, I'm not judging any taste, because I know I talked about movies and shows. Well, everyone has their own taste, but I would say we should try to be careful, because the reality can quickly be distorted with screens, smartphone, TVs, tablets. It's really putting a distance between us and some facts, and it is as well making us believe that some things are real while they are actually not. That's all for today. I'm your man Lou, and I speak my truth. And remember, exploring our ideas is the fastest track to success.